Right, this clip is about relative molecular mass, which is also goes by the name of, so also known as relative formula mass, or, okay, let me just get this down, formula mass, or molar mass. And it too, like relative atomic mass, is measured in grams per mole. Now, this is also the mass in grams of 1 mole of a substance with a formula. Now, by this I mean a compound. It can be an element or a compound or any substance that has a formula. For example, let's look at oxygen, O2. Okay, now oxygen gas or molecular oxygen. Okay, in fact, let's write down. See, oxygen gas, what's known as molecular oxygen. Now, this is made up of oxygen molecules. Here's an oxygen molecule bonded with a double covalent bond to another. An oxygen atom bonded with a double covalent bond to another oxygen atom to make an oxygen molecule. So this is one oxygen molecule that's made up of 2 oxygen atoms covalently bonded together. Right? So the relative formula mass of oxygen is equal to the relative atomic mass of oxygen times 2. So why don't we write that like this? 2 times O. So what we need to do now is look for the relative atomic mass of oxygen, which happens to be 16. So it's 2 times 16. So 1 mole of oxygen gas weighs 32 grams per mole. Okay, now you see that the relative atomic mass of oxygen being 16, and the oxygen atoms at 16, but the relative atomic mass of oxygen gas, molecular oxygen, is 32 grams per mole. That's quite straightforward. Let's do something. Let's look at a compound. So let's look at another simple substance like water. Okay. Now water is made up of. So if we look at the relative atomic mass of water. Oops. Excuse me. Okay, that was a fail. Let's get the rubber. Or let's just do an undo. All right. So the relative atomic mass of water, which is H2O, is 2 hydrogens. Okay, so we've got to look at the formula. We've got 2 hydrogens, so 1 molecule of water has 1 times 2 hydrogens, and 1 oxygen. Alright, so we can plug that in here. Right, so that's 2 times 1 plus 16, which is 18 grams per mole. So 1 mole of water weighs 18 grams. So if you have 18 grams of water, you have 1 mole of water. We can do a slightly more complicated one. So what about glucose? Formula is C6H12O6. Might be an idea to pause the video, have a go yourself. Alright, so here's the answer. So as before, let's just write out MR glucose. Look at the formula, so we can see we have 6 carbons in each molecule, 12 hydrogens in each molecule, and 6 oxygens. Let's plug in the relative atomic masses. So that'd be 6 times 12 plus 12 times 1 plus 6 times 16. Okay, so this becomes 60, 72 plus 12 plus 96. Oops, 6. This adds up to 180 grams per mole.